decry the 2021 remapping in Illinois, which took away one Republican congressional seat. Illinois' maps, like those in Texas, have been graded an F by the Princeton Gerrymandering Project.
There's no bigger hypocrite on the topic of gerrymandering than Governor J.B. Pritzker. He ran on the promise of delivering fair maps to the people of Illinois, and he signed the most blatantly partisan gerrymandered maps in the entire country.
It seems as if the strategy is bring more attention to this, make everybody uncomfortable, right? The more painful you make the process in Texas, the more it's hard to replicate. Maybe there isn't. They may be their own colleagues aren't as interested in this. Congressional Republicans that serve in Texas whose districts are actually going to get impacted negatively also secretly are kind of hoping this goes away too. And I think they think the more painful they can make this in doing it, maybe there's a way to shut this down. So I understand the strategy, and I think you get this. The part that I think is sort of bad, I think it's a bad look for a party that claims to be always trying to protect the democracy, is to hole up in a state that gerrymanders. The state of Illinois. I mean, one of the worst, look, Texas, Florida, Illinois, and Maryland. Those are your four giant gerrymandered states. And if you're trying to make a point on gerrymandering, I don't think I'd be going to the state of Illinois as a place to hide.
Well, Sean, first of all, Texas is doing what we are allowed to by the law. And one reason why that law exists the way that it does is because the Democrats brought a lawsuit after our last redistricting, and that decision and that lawsuit came out last year. And that lawsuit recognized that coalition districts are not required. And so Texas has a right to redraw these lines to fully represent the desires of every voter in the state. But, Sean, that misses the point here. The point here is that Democrats have done something that's very un-Texan. They've turned their backs on their fellow Texans. When it came to a fight, they turned and ran away, not just from this redistricting fight, they ran away from dealing with the flooding issues that are still echoing across the Kerrville area. Families desperately need results from the state legislature in this 30-day special session that are not going to be delivered because Democrats are hanging out in Chicago and New York and other places.
The gerrymandering saga continues. As you saw from the intro, I pointed out how Illinois is one of the most gerrymandered states, and it's not me saying it, it's a Princeton college institution saying it. Liberals, they only want to listen to college-educated people, so I used something that it helped in my favor, right? So you saw from the intro, it's well known, well documented that Illinois is one of the most gerrymandered states in the union, not just, amongst Democrats or amongst the gerrymandered states, but amongst the entire country. And as you saw from the intro, Chuck Todd pointed out something that I had pointed out earlier in my videos, that it only makes Democrats look worse, because this all just looks purely political. And I think many Americans are reading this correctly. This is just political theater. You're not trying to defend equality or this is un-American what the Texas Republicans are doing, when all we have to do is look at you and say, okay, so you're un-American. Look what you're doing in your states. And you are one of the worst offenders. Your party is one of the worst offenders. And now that the Republicans are doing something similar, you're mad. And it turns out that the new 5 congressional districts that can go for Republicans, right, trying to give them 5 extra seats, the Republicans in their redrawn map, they added the 5 maps. These are Hispanic majorities in Texas. So that means the voters that Democrats say that they got under lock and key, Hispanic voters, they're crying over a map that redistrict these people for the potential of 5 congressional Republican seats. These are the Democrats already conceded that point. They conceded the point that they have truly lost the Hispanic vote. That now is a possibility. 5 years ago, if you had told me that Texas redrawn the state map and added 5 new seats in coalitions that are majority Hispanic, I would have been like, oh, Democrats got a good chance of winning those seats. But in 2025, Democrats are fleeing Texas over a map redrawn about 5 seats that are in majority Hispanic counties. Make that make sense, guys. Make that make sense. This is the Democratic Party for you. And let's not forget the corporate media who's complicit in these narratives, right? Because these people, this is my problem with the media. They'll say, oh, we talk about the gerrymandering done by Illinois. Yes, but you never confront these people. You never spin a narrative or a framing as negative as you're doing right now to Greg Abbott.
So I just want to be clear. We have covered it when Democrats gerrymander as well, sir.
Well,
Well, Caitlin, I know I got to tell you, I'm incredibly flattered the amount of time CNN must have spent fact-checking what I said earlier today to come up with those clips. But if those are the best clips you can find, then my point stands. I was proven correct because at no point was he asked to justify those maps. But here's the point. It wasn't that I was saying good, bad, right, or wrong, whether they could or should or shouldn't. The point is what we're talking about in the state of Texas is something that is constitutional. It's legal. The Supreme Court has said we can do things like this. And my main criticism of the liberal Democrat governors in California, New York, Illinois, and other places isn't so much the weighing in on the merits of their maps. It's the rank hypocrisy and the fake outrage. These Democrats, my Democrat colleagues that fled the state to go hide behind Governor Pritzker, they're not mad that states are engaging in redistricting to maximize partisan political advantage. What they're mad about, but they won't say it, they're mad that a Republican state is stepping up and doing it. That's the real problem, and that's the hypocrisy that I'm trying to point out here.
But to the point, I mean, Governor Abbott's not here right now. I'm not questioning him about it. Obviously, we'd love to have.
Gerrymandering is one of those things that everybody does. Like, the idea that Donald Trump made this up is, I think, kind of insane. I don't think you really think that. I mean, you know,
I definitely didn't say that.
They fled to Illinois, which is one of the most, gerrymandered states in the union. I happen to love this story because I love the political theater of it all. I love that they absconded. I love that now there are arrest warrants out. I think that the American people don't care at all about this. But what's most interesting to me about this is that these new 5, potential Republican-controlled districts are all majority Hispanic. The Republicans are leaning into the victories that Trump had with Hispanic voters in 2024 and saying, hey, we're going to bet on ourselves. We're going to bet that we're going to keep these voters, and we're going to try to get them into our coalition via these districts. And it's amazing to me that the Democrats, instead of fighting for those voters, are just kind of running away and ceding the point that these Republican districts full of Hispanics are now going to go for Republicans eternally.
Okay. Yeah.
So with all this bluster about retribution, war from Democrats in California, New York, Greg Abbott has a message for Kathy Hochul, and I think it's a solid one, and it makes sense. Right? It don't matter how much the Democrats really cry and complain; they understand what's coming. Right? And I think I want you guys to listen to this reaction from him and his commentary on this. And I think that is what I've been saying all along. The Republicans, they're saying, hey, look, we want to maximize our opportunity, but we try to be as fair as we can. I believe that if you go back on all the congressional maps listed out by Florida, Texas, right? People claim that these are the most gerrymandered states in the union. Texas, Florida, Illinois, New York. If you look at the grading, I believe the Republican maps are more fair than Democrat maps. I mean, Illinois got an F. That's going to hurt their average a lot. And I think that we're going to now declare war as if it just happened. Not like, no, you've been doing this for decades already. And now you're mad we're playing the same game. And I think Greg Abbott has a good message here. And I think I want to highlight it here because all this is nothing more than political theater. Some people think that this is a way for Democrats to try to fundraise off this issue because of the fact that, ever since USAID got defunded, Democrats have been losing money left and right. Democrats have been struggling to raise money, actually. And many people think that Democrats are doing this to fundraise off of. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section.
What is your response to Kathy Hochul, who says that we are at war over Texas and the redistricting push that's going on in Texas?
That's a bunch of crazy bluster. Democrats are freaking out because they are realizing Texas has the authority to redistrict, and we're going to do so in a way that's going to lead to these additional seats that will vote Republican, and they will be serving in Congress in the next session. And so Democrats are freaking out about it, engaging in rhetoric, but I don't think they have the capability of actually living up to it and doing anything about it. Texas will continue to fight for what is right, and that's exactly what we are doing.
What is your response to...
Hey. You can't say he's lying. They can't do nothing. Like, they really can't do anything. What New York's going to do to Texas, right? What New York's going to do to Texas? California is going to retaliate, like, oh, we're going to take away more seats away from Republicans by doing these snake-like redistricting. And all the Republicans did was the 5 new districts is going to be majority Hispanic, a correlation that Democrats said that would lead them to victory. Demographics is destiny. Now they're almost scared to cater to the Hispanic vote because Hispanics have been trending towards the Republican Party. And as Batia had made claim in the middle of this video, Republicans are betting on themselves here. Some Republicans don't like the map that is being redrawn right here. But Democrats want to frame this as outrage. Oh my God, gerrymandering. Where was this when your party was doing it? It's not based on principles, it's based on politics. It's clear to see from everybody in America. Only one side is pretending that they're doing some moral virtue about it, and that's the Democratic Party. And this is the fakeness of the Democrats that I think many people cannot stand. And I think this is why they're so unpopular in this country. My God. But I digress. I want to play this one more clip. And this is Greg Abbott signing out and pretty much stating that, hey, the Democrats are mad that they can't do anything about it. And we're going to do this regardless. We're not looking for their approval. And I think this is one of the messaging that I talked about with the Republican Party is that if the Republican Party becomes the party that gets stuff done, I don't think Democrats have a chance in 10 years. That's just my honest opinion. Let me hear yours in the comment section. Let's get into the video.
Texas, we are going to ensure that voters are going to be able to vote for their candidate of choice. For example, I think Donald Trump won in all 5 of these seats that we will be making Republican seats. The same thing should apply in all those other states, Sean, that you mentioned in your monologue where you pointed out the gross gerrymandering in these blue states have rejected Republican candidates for office that should be serving those states, should be serving our country. It's the gerrymandering in the blue states that has distorted the politics in America. Texas, we are going to ensure that
and that's Greg Abbott's final point. He made a great point there. He flipped the accusation on its head, essentially. Hey, you're complaining about distorting the electric when all we're doing is looking at the 2024 election, which just happened a couple months ago. I think Democrats want to forget that day, but almost a year since Donald Trump won that election. And we're like, oh, this is opportunities here. Let's redistrict and see if these are Republican states or not. This is the bet on themselves that Batia pointed out in the middle of this video. But what Democrats are doing? Running, fundraising off of this political theater, knowing damn well that this is inevitable. California, right? You just saw California. I don't know the percentages, but it was a lot closer than people thought it would be from the margins. And we're like, oh, that should be, hey, maybe we need more Republican representation. Gavin Newsom says, nope. Let's redistrict it. Let's avoid those areas. Let's isolate them so they don't produce a Republican congressman. This is the distortion that Greg Abbott points out, and I think this is what my angle was at in my first video, is that everything Democrats do only highlights more reasons why you can't really trust Democrats with power, why Democrats should lose more seats in the House. Because they're trying to distort politics for what? For power. That's the only principle they believe in. For control. They're Democrat first, America last. And yes, you can make some claims. Yes, a lot of Republicans are Republican first, America last. But that's half of the Republicans. I can make that argument. Half the Republicans want to do something in America's best interest. Half of the Republicans want to do something in their own best interest. But I know 80% of the Democrats want to do something for their own best interest. Because all you have to do is look at the House votes. Look at the votes on bills like, hey, you need proof of citizenship to vote in our election. Overwhelmingly, Democrats vote no against that. Sometimes unanimously votes against that. Something that 70% of Americans agree with. Hey, let's only count American citizens as part of our census. Democrats unanimously vote no against that because they'll lose House seats if you only count Americans in the census. And I ask you a simple question. Should foreigners be able to influence another country's election? Everyone's and their mom's going to say no. Okay, so why are we counting foreigners as part of our population numbers that will affect the redistribution of congressional representation in our government? Make that make sense. You can't square that. But if you look at it from a political lens, it benefits the Democratic Party because they have sanctuary states, sanctuary cities, which is a hub of attracting foreigners, illegals specifically. Right? And then they're even making laws where these illegals can vote in their local elections, further distorting the politics of a country. And you think that's in the benefits of Americans? And they wonder why Democrats' popularity is only 28% with the American people. and it seems to trend even lower. They wonder why Donald Trump is more popular than any Democrat you can name off the top of your head right now in this video. Donald Trump by himself is more popular than the entire Democratic Party. Oh, Donald Trump's approval rating is low. Yours is lower. And this is just reality. And now reality is coming to smack Democrats in the face, and Democrats ain't liking it. Just like Democrats in Texas are running away from the redistricting fight, Democrats are also running from political reality of the country. That your policies ain't as good as you think they are. And I think that's a reality that many Democrats and their supporters don't want to come to grips with. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts and perspective in the comment section below. I'll be interested to hear what you guys have to say. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video if you feel so inclined. It really does help me out in the algorithm. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.